points.
Brokered talks in Doha breaking down, Hamas rejecting the latest proposal by U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to extend Phase 1 of the Gaza ceasefire deal. Hamas leaders say the plan does not include a ceasefire or lifting Israel's aid blockade and only focuses on prisoner exchange. A new wildfire reported today in Oklahoma, southeast of Guthrie. It's triggering more evacuations today. This is ABC News.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News. Your news in depth. Find it in the news section at WGBW.FM. For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The price at the pump continues to drop, and that sounds good for your wallet, but it might not be good for the economy. Melissa Kay has more.
Gas prices fell 4.1 cents last week for an average of $2.86 today. This is 2.9 cents lower than a month ago and just over 45 cents lower than this time last year. Officials at Gas Buddy say this decline shouldn't necessarily be celebrated. This time of year, there's usually an increase in gas prices as we switch over to summer gasoline and people are driving more. Gas Buddy officials say this decline comes with strong warning signs. When the economy slows, gasoline demand drops. They say some signals indicate the months ahead could be challenging. Gas prices are likely to remain low for now. However, if the economy improves, gas prices could start to rise again.
In Green Bay, gas is down 2.7 cents a gallon to $2.91 on average. And in Appleton and Oshkosh, the average has dropped to $2.84 and $2.89 a gallon. Waushara County Sheriff's officials are investigating human remains found in the town of Leon last week. A news release said officers were called to the area of County Road EE between Black Hawk Avenue and 26th Court Thursday for the discovery of skeletal human remains. Details are very scarce, and the investigation is continuing. If you're wondering how the influx of hundreds of thousands of visitors coming to the Green Bay area in April for the NFL Draft 2025 will affect your access to services, you're not alone. But cell and internet companies have been installing extra equipment in the Lambeau Field and Titletown areas to increase connectivity and broadband access during the draft. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News.
The Bucks get rolled by the Thunder. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucks fell behind early and lost to one of the top teams in the NBA, the Thunder. The final score 121-105. How did the Thunder control the game? Doc Rivers.
They were so much more physical. They definitely came in with intentions tonight and played that way. They played great tonight.
Men's college basketball, the Badgers drew the number 3 seed. They open the NCAA tournament this Thursday in Denver at the Ball Arena, home of the Denver Nuggets. They'll play the number 14 seed Montana Grizzlies. Marquette is going to the dance again, headed to Cleveland to face New Mexico Friday night.
Excited to be here, happy to be here, and just, excited to see our name called, because it's not particularly common for a school or a player or a group of guys to go to the tournament for 4 years. We've actually did the percentage research, and it's the chance of going to the tournament 4 straight years is 0.1%.
That's Marquette guard Stevie Mitchell with Sports on Mike Clemens.
This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
With your Fox Valley forecast, I'm Corey Hartman. For tonight, mostly clear and a low around 36. A bit breezy on your Tuesday with a high near 51. Under partly sunny skies. Chance of rain Tuesday night, a low near 37. Rain for Wednesday and rain mixing with snow Wednesday night. Afternoon highs in the 40s. It's 48 at our studios.
Matt Nair on air.
Will Westmoreland is joining us now. He is a farmer in southwestern Missouri.
This is an 80-20 Republican area down here. You can't throw a rock without hitting a Republican. And I still know all the guys I graduated with. So I always ask, don't admit you were wrong, just admit you were lied to. That's a lot easier to do. If you just admit you were lied to, you can get over here with us and start working to fight the problem.
Matt Nair on air. Weekdays 10 till noon on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. The Todd Alba Show.
L.A. Tom, L.A., what do you got for us?
We do have a woman problem in this country. There is an issue there that needs to be solved if we are ever to have a female president.
Look at Mexico has a president. Margaret Thatcher. It's just all over the world.
You have to remember Margaret Thatcher. They had queens.
We have Lindsey Graham. Come on.
Well, that's true.
The Todd Alba Show, weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Todd Alba.
Hey, everybody, join us next time. Hopefully your St. Patrick's headache has gone away. We'll be discussing top broadband officials exiting the U.S. Department of Commerce, what it means for broadband.
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who considers a silver medal a participation award, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome. It's time for Nightlight, folks. We made it through the weekend, and now the fun truly begins as we can talk about some of the more fun things in life that take you away from work, politics, sitting in traffic, arguing with family, whatever it may be. Let's kick back and chill out tonight and enjoy Monday in all its glory. Wherever you're joining me from in Wisconsin tonight, it is great to have you. Check us out on the app. Check us out on radio throughout the state as we broadcast live from downtown Green Bay. Conrad, how can people watch the radio? That's important.
Yeah. If you want to go to Facebook, Nightlight with Pete Schwaba, WGBW, or WISS. On YouTube, it's Civic Media or WGBW. And on Twitter, Civic Media or WGBW.
Join us any way you can, but just join us. I guess it's pointless to say that because you've already joined us if you're hearing that. But give us a like or a follow while you're at it. We love to get likes and follows. And we're supposed to ask for them to increase our listenership. Great to have you with me tonight. As I mentioned, that was the voice of Conrad Krieger. He is sitting in for himself tonight, running the board throughout the show. How you doing tonight, Kay?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
Doing well. Did you have a good weekend?
I had a fun weekend, yeah. Mainly watching basketball.
Yeah.
Had a couple drinks here and there.
Couple drinks? Just two? That's not too bad. What did you think of the Badgers? Like, I thought they kind of fell apart, but was that fatigue or just, I don't know.
It felt like a long tournament, and I think they got to the point where they were at, and it didn't seem like either team wanted to win.
Boy, Michigan, the whole game, I thought the Badgers had it,
Yeah, I did too.
It sure looked like it.
It fell apart. Well, our best scorer was 1 for 15, I believe, or something around like that, so that doesn't help.
What did he end up with, like 8? Maybe 10? Mostly free throws, though, or?
He had 1 field goal and all free throws.
Man, so. That's bad. I mean, they could have been gassed. They played more games, I think, than Michigan, but that's excuses. I mean, I don't look at their loss really as an impediment for the tournament. Like, I feel like they still have pretty good momentum.
They have a really good seed. I'm happy
seed.
I'm happy they got the 3.
What did Michigan end up getting? They also got a 3 seed?
Oh, they got a 3 seed, I believe, as well. Yeah.
See, I knew that wasn't like, I had some friends that said, hey, we're heading to Indianapolis. My son was maybe going to go. Like, are you in? And I'm like, not for the Big Ten championship. I can't sit in a car for 7 hours or pay $500 for airfare. Like, and I would have been in flames if I had done that and they lost. But like, I would do that for the actual tournament, but not the Big Ten tournament.
So Michigan actually is a 5 seed.
So they got a lower seed than or a higher seed than the Badgers.
Yep.
Which tells you what people think about how Wisconsin did in the Big Ten tournament. I mean, it was an impressive run.
It was a really fun run to watch, and I hope we get to watch some more fun coming up on Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, I have not looked at their bracket yet, though. Who are their big teams that they have to get through?
Duke.
Come on, God, every year, so annoying.
Duke every year, yeah. That's
just
that's the tough one. And then it's Arizona's in there, St. Mary's, Alabama. Yeah, they got a tough side.
The worst thing about Duke, about them being seated in the same region as Duke, is that we're going to have to see those replays of 2015 and just that like still hurts.
I think we can make a good run though.
I think so too. They seem like they're in a weird place, like where they're dangerous, certainly not favored, but they could do some damage and who knows what could happen, I like their odds. So that's that. So that's what we did. I watched a film called Elevation that I'll talk about, and I know I'm going to ask you about your film, Electric State. But first, I have to say, I've talked about on this show, I don't understand. Like, I have a poker app. Most people have avatars. It's like Twitter. Nobody wants their real picture on there. And I was playing at a table with a guy. I'm amazed at real people that have a picture, sending a rose at the table, an emoji rose, to an avatar of an AI, basically animated woman picture, like they're hitting on an avatar. So I said at the table, the guy sends this woman, I guess, who knows what she or it or they were. Could have been a bot. I don't know. But my comment was, hey, I was going to flirt with that avatar. And the guy erupted. He starts calling me all these inappropriate, politically incorrect names. I was just making a joke. I even put an LOL. Like, talk about having no sense of humor. Like, this guy was banking on getting somewhere with this avatar, and I ruined his day. I didn't mean to. I thought, people would laugh, but oh my gosh. She had no personality, too, the avatar. Nothing.
Yeah, that's the thing with those avatars.
You just never know. Like, what do you think you're going to be registered at Bed Bath & Beyond in a month? Like, what are you doing? It's so bizarre to me. But even when you try to make light of it or be funny, nothing. Called me terrible names. And then I did my usual, you're not even smart enough to offend me, pal. I'm like, all right, I got to stop. I'm arguing with, who knows? It could have been Putin playing poker at the table for all I know. I don't want to mix it up with those guys. All right, so Badgers are a 3 seed. I got my poker story out of the way. I did watch a film called, you know what? Let's do this. Let's cover this story first because this is a big deal. Gene Hackman, over the weekend or late last week, it was determined that his wife, Betsy Arakawa, died of I think it was called the hantavirus, a rare thing that you can get from rodents, I guess. And she died first. Gene Hackman died later because he couldn't take care of himself and he had Alzheimer's. So Hackman, over the course, was one of my favorite actors of all time. Over the course of his life, he accrued like $80 million to his estate, whatever, that they have to divvy up now. He left it to his wife. His wife, Betsy, left all her money to charity. But the fact that they died within the same period means Hackman has no one to leave his money to. Where I'm going with this is his 3 children, all middle-aged now, 60s and 50s, because he was 95, were left out of his will. They don't even get a sniff of his estate. However, since she is deceased, there was no one listed in the will as a secondary beneficiary. So the kids are ultimately going to get the money, it sounds like. Now, it's weird because I've read a lot of articles about Gene Hackman over the last week, or a couple weeks, I guess, since he passed away. Again, loved him as an actor, but he admitted in some of the articles he was not a very good father. He was gone for months and months at a time and didn't have the relationship with his kids that he thought was appropriate. He admits he was kind of an absentee father. Wouldn't that make you more inclined to leave them, to buy their love with some money at the end of your life? Like, you got $80 million. Let's say you take $20 million and leave it to the kids. 10. Give them each $1 million. I don't know. I think that was strange, and I have to say, it knocked him down a couple pegs, in my opinion. And that leads us to our question of the night.
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question. Question.
Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Okay, I have a question. Questions? This question.
Domanda.
Question.
Question.
Questions.
Does Gene Hackman not leaving any of his $80 million to his kids change your opinion of the legendary actor? Now, I get it. We don't know the whole story. I'm just saying on paper, it doesn't look good, especially when he admits he wasn't really around for his kids. They weren't in touch. Maybe if they were, his life could have been saved. Who knows? But I have to admit, and I'm whatever. I don't know there's many sides to every story, at least 2 or 5 in this case with his kids. So I don't know what the issue is between them. But I have to say, it kind of changed my opinion. Not of his acting, certainly. Maybe he was still a good guy. But does Gene Hackman not leaving any of his $80 million to his kids change your opinion of the legendary actor? That is tonight's question. Let us know at 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. And we will read your text on the radio. Love to hear from you guys. Always more fun when you guys participate. You can also text us on the stream or on the app. It's all good. Just get a hold of us. It'd be great to hear what you guys think. Am I overthinking this? Am I being too hard on them? I don't know. We have a really good show tonight. Todd Michaels is here. We're going to talk about a new documentary about aliens. And it's going to be fun. It's called... where is it? I have it written down. I can't remember. Oh, The Age of Disclosure. And it's a documentary that claims that aliens are among us. And they talked to 34 people. The director, Dan Farrow, talked to 34 people who claim aliens have been found. They are among us. We'll talk to Todd about that. Todd Todd produces Mino and the Mayor here at WGBW and WISS. Such a phenomenal producer. And he is also a paranormal investigator in his free time. So I'm anxious. Todd's like the first person I thought about when I saw this article. And I have so many questions. I don't expect Todd to be able to answer them all, but we'll have a discussion. You guys can weigh in on that, certainly. Phone lines are always open, 855-752-4842. And then, this is exciting, in the second hour at 7:35 from Flick's Brew House, Dave Hansen will join the show. He is the brewmaster at Flick's, and he reached out to me about a month ago and said, hey, we'd like to do this Nightlight-inspired beer. What do you think? I played hard to get. He kept texting. I couldn't get rid of him. I said, sure. That's not how it happened. I said immediately, yes, Dave, I'm here. How can I help? What can we do? Love the idea of a Nightlight-inspired beer. So Dave is working on that right now. I was in Madison last week, poured in the hops. We took some pictures. I think they're on our social media here at Civic Media or WGBW. But Dave's a great guy. He's going to talk to us about his job as a brewmaster. We'll talk a little bit about the Nightlight beer. And that will be a fun conversation, too. Conrad, do you have beer questions? You're a beer guy. I mean, what goes into making it? Dave can answer all those questions.
Of course. Yeah, that's a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Write them out, buddy. I'm sure he'll want to answer your questions. And mine as well. So that's your show. Great to have you here, folks. It's Monday. We made it. We made it through the weekend. We're back on the air, and we can talk about really fun stuff. And we will do that for the next just under a couple hours here. So thanks for being with me. This is Pete Schwaba and Nightlight. When we come back, happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way. We'll celebrate St. Patrick's Day with a clip from The Simpsons, as only The Simpsons can do. That's coming up next on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home of Mino and the Mayor.
This National Ag Week, we salute the men and women of agriculture. Quality Roasting would like to thank everyone involved in farming for their hard work and dedication helping to feed America. With flexible feeding options, Quality Roasting is here to help you explore how high oleic soybeans can fit into your farm strategy and make an impact. Quality Roasting, a local soybean processor since 1991. Call today, 920-775-9279 to sell your soybeans.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. Folks, we've got to talk about Derek Van Orden. The second-term congressman representing Wisconsin's 3rd District is at it again, dodging public meetings and making all kinds of unhinged comments. As many scramble and struggle to understand the chaos of what's happening in Washington, D.C., and how it's impacting people here in Wisconsin, Van Orden has been as frustrating and disrespectful as ever. In one instance, Van Orden took to social media to berate a veteran who had been fired from his job at the VA by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. And the veteran in question is simply someone who was just reaching out to his congressman, looking for answers. Van Orden's office has also hastily canceled public meetings, and he has made some especially wild accusations about people who have been attending these public events. Congressman Van Orden needs to stop this unhinged madness and, more importantly, be more available and accountable to his constituents.
Find all of Dan's work at the Recombobulation area and on our website at civicmedia.us.
As a federally licensed broadcast company, this civic media station is required by FCC regulations to accept advertising by all qualified candidates for federal office. We also accept ads from state and local candidates. We do screen announcements from issue groups and PACs and exercise discretion in airing announcements with blatantly false claims or outrageous, unfounded statements. These announcements do not necessarily reflect the views of civic media.
St. Patrick's Day. How did I grew up celebrating St. Patrick's Day, even sometimes having corned beef and cabbage. I'm primarily Irish, and I forgot to mention St. Patrick's Day till right before the break. You know what happens is I put it on the sheet, and then I kept adding stuff, and it got bumped down and down. And honestly, St. Patrick's Day is fun, but like, I care less about ethnicity as I get older. I don't care what someone's ethnic background is. That doesn't mean we shouldn't celebrate them, but let's celebrate all of them. I remember two friends of mine in college almost coming to blows over my friend who was Irish was bragging about St. Patrick's Day, and my friend who was Italian didn't like that. And my friend that was Irish kept saying, well, you're just jealous you don't have a day. And he said, yeah, we do. We have St. Joseph's Day, which none of us had even heard of. So we laughed at him, and they almost came to blows. And I thought, this is kind of silly. Like, what's your Are you German?
I'm German.
So what do you
Irish,
celebrate?
though.
And Irish?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you celebrate any kind of German,
no, I
break out
don't.
the potato salad or something at some point?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely, whenever I go visit some, like my grandma, there's German stuff there. So
there's German stuff there. I can tell you're really tied into your,
definitely really tied into it.
Well, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. We have this is how I like to celebrate St. Patrick's Day every year. This is one of my favorite Simpsons sort of sequences regarding this holiday, and we'll play this for you now. This is Bart, and there's a lot of fighting going on because it's St. Patrick's Day, and they're making fun of alcohol and fighting. And this is The Simpsons.
Oh, it's been St. Patrick's Day for hours, and I'm still not drunk yet. Oh, it's never going to be 9 o'clock. Oh, Mo! Thank God you're here. We'd like to come in and drink, please.
We kicked down the back door, but then there was a metal door.
Yeah, all right. Listen up. This is the busiest drinking day of the year. Where are the designated drivers? Beat it. I got no room for cheapskates.
Top of the morning to ye on this gray, drizzly afternoon. Kent O. Brockman, live on Main Street, where today everyone is a little bit Irish, except, of course, for the gays and the Italians.
All right, then, move along.
Nothing to see here.
Show's over, folks.
Parades just bring out so many emotions in me. Joy, excitement, looking.
Mom, can I go buy one of those long plastic horns?
Oh, Bart, we've bought those before, and you always just throw them out the car window on the ride home.
I get bored with them. But that won't happen this time.
Beep, beep, coming through. Hey, Notre Dame, move it or lose it. Will the owner of the great big butt please move it out of my face?
Hey, Mom, on TV.
Hey, where's that weather chick?
This is some wicked party, eh?
Hey, have you seen Sully?
Get away from there. Hey, I need a pencil. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing is a total disregard for the things St. Patrick's Day stands for. All this drinking, violence, destruction of property. Are these the things we think of when we think of the Irish?
Hey, look, everybody, free beer!
Open your yaps, boyos!
that's The Simpsons. And the explosion you heard was a bunch of Irish guys throwing some type of bomb at a fish and chips place. Like that was all happening in Springfield. Funny stuff. Love it. Happy St. Patrick's, though. Happy St. Patrick's Day. To all of you celebrating today, be careful out there. Be safe and party responsibly. Our question of the night, folks, I like this question because I'm going on pure emotion, but after I read this article about Gene Hackman, it just got me thinking. And one of my all-time favorite actors left his kids out of his will. Turns out they will get the money because his wife died within like a week of him, and there was no secondary beneficiary on the will. So our question of the night is, does Gene Hackman not leaving any of his $80 million fortune to his kids change your opinion of the legendary actor? It did for me. Without knowing any of the facts, just on paper, my initial reaction was I kind of thought, especially after he admitted to being kind of a deadbeat dad, not deadbeat dad, that's the wrong term, absentee father, let's say, and admitted that he was gone for months at a time, I kind of was like, I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't leave that to your kids, but maybe something else has worked out. Again, I have no info on this, but I'm going off my gut, and it did knock him down a little bit, in my opinion. Conrad, what do you think?
I mean, I haven't really seen a bunch of his stuff, so I don't know if I'm the right guy to form an opinion on this because I don't know too much about him and his
You're the
life.
perfect guy to chime in. You don't have to see his movies. Like,
Well, I don't know too much about him. I never really
Alright.
thought of one of my favorite actors either, so. But I mean, I guess it's like we don't know what went on behind the scenes either.
Right.
So maybe he did that for a reason, you know?
yeah, maybe. Kind of a big oversight. I would imagine 80 million big ones. Let's go to the text line. Paula from the 920. Conrad's mom says, I have not changed my opinion of Gene Hackman because we do not know the dynamics of the family. You're right, Paula. We do know a little bit, though, because he has not talked to his kids and they were not around. So there are definitely, I would assume, some pretty hurt feelings there. One way or the other, either the kids towards Gene, Gene towards the kids, who knows? Steve in Milwaukee says, that surprises me. I think it does knock Hackman down a couple notches. He was a great actor, but apparently not a family man. That's kind of my impression as well, Steve. Thank you for the text. Monica from Mount Horeb says, I don't have enough info. I mean, maybe he already gave them millions, bought them houses, had trusts in their names, etc. That's what I was thinking too. Like maybe at some point they did get a lot of money from him or some sort of assistance. I don't know. Maybe his kids are independently wealthy. I'm not trying to be a bad guy here. I'm just saying on paper, it's kind of a bad look. AJ from the 608 says, hey, Pete and Conrad, I personally believe that it's none of our business what people decide to leave to their kids, etc. But I assume his children will be okay. That is a mighty big assumption, AJ. But yeah, I can live with that. Steve from Milwaukee says, and I just watched The Runaway Jury last night, kind of relevant to today. God, I saw that, Steve, and I don't even remember. I'll have to give that a rewatch. I know it's a John Grissom, and I'm sure Hackman was great in it, but great text. Keep them coming, folks. Great to have you with me when we come back. We're talking aliens with paranormal investigator Todd Michaels. It's Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I feel it's happened to me, and I'm telling you, it's too late to turn back now. I believe I'm falling in love. It's too late to turn back now. I believe I'm falling in love. I found myself phoning her at least 10 times a day. You know, it's so unusual.
From Denmark to De Pere, this is 97.9 WGBW. Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Disabled voters won't be able to receive absentee ballots by email after a court ruling. Jimmy Kuska has the details.
A ruling this week by a Wisconsin appeals court means that disabled voters can't receive absentee ballots by email. The decision means that disabled voters will not be able to receive ballots by email for the spring election on April 1st. Currently, only military and overseas voters can get ballots by email. The groups that brought the lawsuit to give disabled voters the ability to receive emailed absentee ballots said they will not appeal the decision. Republicans said voting electronically from home weakens election integrity.
Absentee voting for the April 1st spring election begins Tuesday, March 18th. A recent report found Wisconsin's roadways ranked 26th in overall road cost effectiveness and condition. According to the annual highway report from the Reason Foundation, the state jumped 7 spots in the rankings, which cover road and bridge safety, pavement quality, and cost effectiveness. Among the individual categories ranked, Wisconsin finished 7th in rural fatalities and 10th in urban and other fatalities. The state's worst category was urban arterial pavement conditions, where it ranked 44th in the country. Wisconsin Senators Tammy Baldwin and Ron Johnson have introduced bipartisan legislation to improve roadway safety for cyclists and pedestrians. The bill, named after a Wisconsin resident who was killed while riding her bicycle in 2022, seeks to expand federal funding opportunities for smaller local governments to improve safety. The bill would focus on communities with populations of under 5,000 people, authorizing them to use federal funds from the Highway Safety Improvement Programs to cover local cost share requirements. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. A new documentary says we are not alone. The Age of Disclosure premiered at the South by Southwest Film Festival in early March and claims aliens are real and that the government has covered up their existence for the last 80 years. The doc claims non-human biological matter has been collected from spacecraft crash sites. Director Dan Farah interviewed 34 government officials who confirmed some type of extraterrestrial life, but the film does not offer a whole lot of actual proof other than talking heads. No confirmation as to whether or not people have actually been probed. As promised, I said I would report back when I finished the show 0 Day on Netflix. The 6-parter starring Robert De Niro and Joan Allen explores what happens after a massive grid outage that kills over 3,000 Americans. 0 Day has some great moments, but ties everything up a little too neatly at the end. Having said that, De Niro is great. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
With your Fox Valley forecast, I'm Corey Hartman. For tonight, mostly clear and a low around 36. A bit breezy on your Tuesday with a high near 51. Under partly sunny skies. Chance of rain Tuesday night, a low near 37. Rain for Wednesday and rain mixing with snow Wednesday night. Afternoon highs in the 40s. Currently 46 degrees.
The Todd Alba Show.
Many of the supporters of Trump voted on good faith and said, look, he says some crazy things, but you know what? He at least is telling me he's going to help my family and bring down the price on my heating bill. And that ain't what they're getting. What they're getting back is a political middle finger. And we're staring a recession straight in the face. And Donald Trump does not care. Because at the end of the day, this was one big grift.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. The Dom Salvia Show.
Musk is so arrogant that he is even intervening right here in the state of Wisconsin.
Republican Rep. Brian Stile said in a statement that Sanders was on a fear-mongering tour. Maybe you should be afraid when billionaires can buy the presidency, when billionaires can buy elections. I think that's a little scary, and I think so. We, the people, should do something about it.
The Dom Salvia Show. Weekdays from 4 till 6 on the Civic Media Radio Network and on the Civic Media app. Dom Salvia.
Next time, 617,000.
Says, doesn't change my opinion of him, Gene Hackman, at this point, not knowing the rest of the story. Parentheses, Paul Harvey. At this point, maybe Mr. Hackman had already given his kids millions and maybe was thinking that his very young wife needed the $80 million to live off. Yeah, he's a giver, Steve, for sure. I think she could muscle through on $80 million. Keep those texts coming. Is your opinion gone down a little bit about Gene Hackman, knowing he didn't leave any of his $80 million fortune to his kids? They will ultimately get it anyway because his wife died within a week of him. Kind of a loophole there. But I got to say, it affected my opinion of him a little bit. Not as an actor, certainly. But we will read your texts. Keep sending them, please. Right now, I'm very excited. My next guest is always so much fun to talk to. He produces Mino and the Mayor here at WGBW every morning and at WISS. And he is also a paranormal investigator who does really fascinating work and is really fun to talk to about said work. Mino and the Mayor or paranormal investigating. Would you agree, Conrad?
No, oh, yeah, definitely.
You know this guy.
Yeah?
Yeah. Let's bring him on. Let's not waste any more time. This is getting ridiculous. Todd Michaels joins us now. Todd, how are you?
I'm well. Can I talk about Gene Hackman for a second?
I was going to ask you anyway, so please. And then we have to discuss your look because I love it.
It's scary as hell.
Not at all.
I just think, listen, I think there's a lot of kids that grow up in the Hollywood thing, and this is not the first time that I've heard people with money, whether it's sports people or Hollywood people, that say their kids feel like they're entitled to all this money. And it's like, go out and get a job. And I feel as though he doesn't owe them anything. I really don't think so. And I think he probably was a crabby old man. But let's put it this way. His kids, he was dead for how long? His wife was dead for how long? And the kids never stopped by to see him. I mean... I had a dad with dementia. My mom was sick, and still as a family, we kind of kept in touch with them up until the end. So what is, I don't know. Do they really need the money? Get out of here.
What's going on with the Hackmans? Yeah. Again, not knowing anything. I just admit that on paper, when I read this, I was kind of like, because he had admitted in other articles that he was an absentee father. He was not there.
Yeah.
And I think some people try to make up for that monetarily. But again, like some of the texters have been saying, maybe he gave them money earlier on, or maybe he's made sure I don't know, maybe they're all independently wealthy. But it was just surprising to read that,
Yeah, I didn't necessarily know that he was an absentee father or anything like that. But it wouldn't be the first one, wouldn't be the last one. So I just think he was a great actor. That's all I really care about.
I just hope my parents are listening to this segment
because you're expecting some cash.
Wink, wink, nod, nod. All right, so Todd, we've got to address the elephant in the room, which is your new look, which is so great and so cool that you did this. You did a campaign for St. Baldrick's to help children fighting cancer, and you cut all your awesome beard, and you have good hair, and you just lost it all. You look good, man.
Well, first of all, I don't think so. It was very frightening when I first saw it because I have not been without a beard probably in 20 years, maybe 25 years. So it was kind of hard to look at. I've decided that it's all got to come back. But if I had to choose, if somebody said, okay, you have to either keep your head bald or you have to keep your face shaven, I would keep the bald head and bring the beard back totally. Because basically from the nose down, I'm hideous. And if you just look at my eyes, they're okay. You know what I'm saying? So,
boy, someone's done their fair share of navel gazing over the years. No, listen, I admit when I saw you on Facebook yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeesh. No, I didn't. I was like,
seriously.
No, but I didn't know at first. I didn't know it was you. And then I'm like, oh my God, that's Todd. Like, I was not expecting you to be handsome. I thought maybe why you had the beard and your look was because you were hiding something. But, you're a good-looking guy. Conrad, help me out here. Your boss, you can say it.
That's all Conrad had to do is laugh. That's fine. You just keep that laughter because you know what's really funny on my desktop right now is Conrad's review that I'm working on. So let me.
You look very good, Todd. Let me mention that.
I think a show of solidarity and shaving your head might be in order here, Conrad. I'll just tell you, Todd. Every summer I used to shave my head like I would go quarter inch, not quite completely bald. And then I have another gig on TV, and they were like, please stop doing that. They're like, we can't force you. And my kids were like, Dad, you look like a psychopath.
Well, that was
stopped.
The craziest thing was my dog didn't know who I was right away. Like he kind of cowered away a little bit. But I did raise money, and it's really for a good cause, and I can't wait till it all comes back.
So tell us about that. If people can still donate, where do they go, and how do they get more involved in St. Baldrick's?
I think you can go to stbaldricks.org. That'll give you all the details on it. You can still donate to my campaign. I will just say that John Mino and Jim Schmidt kind of talked me into this. On the air, they did the whole, well, if Todd raises $500, he'll shave everything, right? I ended up raising about $1,300, so I'm really happy with that. And that's from listeners from the show. That's from friends on Facebook. But you can find me on Facebook, Todd Michaels Deering, and you can still donate to my cause if you'd like to.
It's great.
I know you did, Pete, so thank you very much. It was very nice of you.
I emptied one of my offshore accounts. It was the full $8 I
just
sent
one
in
of
your
them.
way. No, it was my pleasure. I think if someone's willing to do that, I think it's great. So good for you, and I hope it helps. If enough people do it, it's certainly good. Although I've heard cancer research might be stopped, so I don't know, but I hope that's not true. Okay, so have you celebrated St. Pat's Day today, Todd? What did you do?
No, I literally have been working since this morning, so I didn't have a time. And green beer always affects my guts a little bit, so I try to avoid that anyway. So I really didn't do anything. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, don't you think it does something to your guts?
Well, it must. I've never been a beer drinker really. So I don't know, but there's no pressure or anything. But happy St. Patrick's Day.
And to you.
And thank you. Conrad?
So that Simpsons clip we played before.
Yeah.
You remember when he has the green dye in his hand and it has poisons written on it. It says green dye for beer and 2 poison symbols.
Mo is the best, and that when Krusty says, "Open your yaps, boyos," and he's just spraying beer into the crowd, is gorgeous. All right, so Todd, let's get down. I always read stuff, and I think of you immediately if it's along these lines. And when I saw this Age of Disclosure documentary that premiered at South by Southwest about 10 days ago, I immediately thought of you. And I don't think you and I have ever covered aliens, at least not in any kind of, we might have touched on it, but
right.
Where do you stand before we get into the documentary? Where do you stand on the existence of aliens, and have you ever investigated anything along those lines?
Where I stand on it is I'm a firm believer that there's so many things that we just don't know about. We just can't comprehend as human beings. And it would not surprise me to find out that there are such things as aliens. I will say that I've never gone out to investigate something that was purportedly alien related. However, I do think that there is a good chance that what we have come to know as paranormal investigating of ghosts and spirits and energies could very well have a tie to aliens. Even things like Sasquatch and Bigfoot. I mean, that there may be a whole different category of paranormal that we haven't even thought about, and maybe somehow they're all intertwined. I'm certainly open to that concept. And some of the stuff I've read lends itself to what the heck is going on. I mean, you and I have talked about the lights in Michigan, right? In Western Michigan back in the 90s. I mean, that is a story that to this day, when I still read about it or see more film on it or whatever, still creeps me out. And it's stories like that that make me say to myself, you know what? There's probably something to this.
Yeah, my issue with the alien, and I do remember you saying that last time, like maybe the Sasquatch thing, maybe they're not from Earth, maybe they're from somewhere else and they come here and whatever. But I'm open to, as usual, I say this to you every time you're here, I have an open mind. This film it's a documentary called The Age of Disclosure. The director Dan Fair interviewed 34 military and intelligence government officials who admit to the existence of what they call UAPs, or unexplained anomalous phenomena, a new term for UFOs.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
But I think the big thing is that they're saying they exist, and it's a disinformation campaign by the government. What does the government have to lose by telling us aliens exist when a lot of people probably think they do anyway on some level?
My assumption on that is that take some control away from our government. I'm not a big conspiracy theory person. I'm just not. But I think, as we were just saying about paranormal, there's a lot of stuff we don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff in our government that we don't know about, that we can't necessarily put our finger on, and they like it that way just fine. And I worry about, I don't worry about it, but I think they probably worry about the effects of this getting out there. If they've been holding this information from us, let's say Roswell in 1947 in New Mexico actually happened. Let's say that somehow some evidence comes forward that that actually took place. How would we feel about our government at that point, withholding that information for that long? And we might be getting to a point in our history as a country, with everything going on politically right now, where we may be more able to believe that they're withholding information on this than maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, 5 years ago. So I think it's a control thing, right? We probably believe that our government tries to control the information that we get and how we receive it. To me, that would just be something on the list of things that they want to control.
It's just, here's why I think it's strange, is because it's not like skin color or religion or gender. Like, you can't go, I think that guy's an alien, and I don't think it would cause mass hysteria. And I can't see Trump keeping a lid on that. If he could expose this and be the guy, I think he would release the information. I mean, unless some of the aliens were on Epstein's plane or something, then he'd
well, either that or we got aliens in government or something like that. You're right. I agree with you, though. I think that you're right. I think that he is the guy that if he wanted to throw things for a loop, that'd be a perfect thing to throw out there and just make things spiral out of control.
Make himself look like a swell guy,
Absolutely.
So they say in the documentary, Todd, they say spacecrafts have been traveling here since the 40s and spying on us. I've read a couple books that were way above my head that says, if people or aliens were going to travel here from other galaxies, nothing that we know technology-wise would make it through those galaxies. There would have to be wormholes or something that they get here, and they would most likely be tiny. And I don't know. Do you have a thought about that?
Well, I think I'm not speaking out of turn when I say that. I think science has proven the ability to create or have wormholes. So I think that is, it's not just something from Futurama, which is one of my favorite cartoons. But I think, first of all, why the 1940s? What happened in the 1940s where all of a sudden we as a planet were very interesting to aliens? I'm not sure exactly what that's about. But also, like, again, from what I'm hearing about this documentary or this movie or whatever, where's the proof? Are we seeing any proof in this thing, or is it just people talking about it? Because we can talk all night and make a bunch of stuff up, but where's the actual proof to this? And so far, I haven't seen anything ever that ever went, oh my God, that's an alien.
Well, and that's what the Hollywood Reporter's Daniel Feinberg dismissed the documentary as a basic cable exploitation doc done up with a fancy gloss in which nothing is proven and thus nothing can be refuted. The credibility, I guess, they might have, I'll share that after the break, but there are two politicians on each side of the aisle that are kind of supporting this.
Okay.
So we could talk about that next. Vicky on the stream says, great discussion, guys. Thank you, Vicky. Great to have you with us. Please chime in. We'd love to hear your opinions. Todd Michaels is here, ladies and gentlemen. The new and improved. Well, the beard was pretty cool. I don't know if you're improved, but he looks good. Join us on the stream and check out Todd. He produces Mino and the Mayor, and he's a paranormal investigator. And we'll continue our discussion about aliens next. This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Is the talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 920-332-5578. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 920-332-5578. That's 920-332-5578.
No more mold, no more damage, no more slipping and hurting. Make your ordinary bathroom extraordinary for only $99 per month. New shower, new door, new tub, new wall, new anti-slip technology. BCI Bath and Shower is made in America for the highest quality. First 50 callers save $1,500 on a never clear glass treated door. BCI Bath and Shower. Interest-free financing options. 800-329-4115. 800-329-4115. 800-329-4115.
It may be margarita night for you gals, but the guys are getting Dudes and Tacos. Dudes and Tacos is an initiative of Foundation's Health and Wholeness to help reduce men's suicide and give men the resources they need to improve their mental well-being. And this month, they're going to be at the Mad Apple Burger and Billiard Company on March 18th at 5:30 p.m., where you can play some pool, listen to their special guest speaker, and discuss communication and relationships. It's a free event.
Hi, this is Jenny Slate, and you are listening to Night Light with Guy Schwaba.
Gonna be some sweet sounds coming down on the night shift.
All right, Todd is doing like kind of a Mr. Roboto thing on the stream. You couldn't have pulled that off with the beard. I just want to say that.
Well, that music that was that intro that came in was kind of reminded me like a German techno thing from Touch My Monkey. Remember from Saturday Night Live?
Sprockets. Welcome to Sprockets.
That's right. Now is the time we dance.
We did. Oh, I forgot about that. That's so great. Todd Michaels is here, ladies and gentlemen. He produces Mino and the Mayor every day here at WGBW and WISS, and he's joining us tonight because he is also a paranormal investigator in his free time, and he's joining us to refute, discuss, whatever. A new documentary that premiered at South by Southwest last week that is insisting there is alien life and they are living among us right now. Dan Farah, the director of The Age of Disclosure, got 34 military and intelligence government officials to admit the existence of UAPs, or unexplained anomalous, am I saying that right? Anomalous phenomena, the new term for UFOs. So, Todd, where do I go with this?
You said you mentioned that there was some political people on either side of the aisle.
Yes.
Who are they?
I got distracted because this proof question I want to get to. But Marco Rubio and Kristen Gillibrand from New York, a Republican and a Democrat, are in the film. They both talk. Gillibrand says it could be something being tested from overseas. She's more skeptical than Rubio, apparently. But again, I don't know that is anything either. Okay, yeah, they could be. But supposedly they've recorded these objects flying at 50,000 miles an hour, which we don't have anywhere on Earth. China, Russia. So that was interesting.
Again, my question is, and you posed this question earlier, but why hide this from us? Why not just say, here's the situation? I think it was within the last couple of years, we had all those balloons flying over and, blah, blah, blah. And then we even had former presidents like Barack Obama saying, well, yes, there are UFOs and stuff like that. Or I think I remember something like that. Maybe it was a dream. I'm not going to lie to you. But again, like if this is really going on, where's the proof? And right now, like would it be so bad if there were aliens and they came and saved us and, took care of cancer and all that kind of stuff? Would it be that bad? I don't think so.
Especially if the documentary suggests that they've been coming here since the 40s. It seems like the bad stuff would have happened by now. Like, they obviously like it here. Maybe they like going to ball games or a county fair. I don't know. But why hasn't anything terrible happened? I don't see what the deal is with hiding the proof, if there is any. We have a phone call, Todd. Can we take a call? Maybe a question for you, sir?
Sure.
All right. Conrad, who we got?
We got Cindy from Appleton.
Hey, Cindy from Appleton. How are you tonight, Cindy?
Good, Pete. How are you?
Doing very well.
Well, I totally, top of the evening to you, by the way. I believe in UFOs because I swear to God, I've seen several of them over my lifetime myself because we used to live out in the country. But like I said before on your show, no alien would stay on this planet because we are the most ignorant species anywhere. They wouldn't waste their time on us. So.
But what if it's warmer here, Cindy? I could put up with the,
I'm sure that still wouldn't matter. We're just so ignorant. Like I said, we're destroying our own home.
Yeah.
What other species would come here and say, "Oh, this is a brilliant bunch of people. They're destroying their own planet"?
I think that, Conrad, I think we have a new question of the night for tomorrow night. So we can. Cindy, thank you so much. Always so great to hear from you. All right. She makes a good point, though.
She does. And the other thing is maybe they're here to document our destruction of our own lifestyle and life and all that so that they can show other galaxies and other beings, hey, don't do this to yourself. This was really stupid. That's the only reason I can think that they're going to be here, or really old reruns of What's Happening and stuff like that that's still on pay-per-view or whatever.
You just said reruns, and rerun could be their favorite character. They could do the rerun dance. They're trying to perfect that. I don't know. Yeah, to me, it's like, you might be right. Look what these idiots are doing. Like, we've got a guy like Elon Musk who is so obsessed with going to Mars. And like I've seen in other discussions, we have a great planet. It can sustain life here. Why aren't we taking better care of this? So maybe there is something there. In this documentary, Todd, Luis Elizondo, a member of the government's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, was like their all-star guest. Even he doesn't offer proof. They just insist it's there. What's the point of making a film like that? Have you met any other paranormal investigators who have come close to having proof or have heard of actual proof?
Of aliens? No.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of personal stories and stories from people that I genuinely believe and believe that they would never lie to me. So I've heard stories, but even in investigating ghosts and energies and stuff like that, we're still very skeptical of that. But we actually have more actual research and things that we can show and play and listen to and research that we can actually offer up to help prove the fact that there's something other than just humans on this earth or whatever, energies and stuff like that. I have not seen anything to prove or disprove alien life on this planet.
That's very well said. Can we keep you through the news, Todd? I would love to ask you about
Sure.
Roswell. Is that good?
Yeah, we can do that.
I know you got to get to bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask Todd about Roswell after the break because we kind of dipped our toe in that last time. I think there's a lot of people that don't really entirely understand what happened at Roswell. I think, there are movies like Independence Day where, they got an alien in a field but I want to know what the hype is about. If you could help us with that a little bit, that would be great.
All right.
And then maybe a token favorite ghost story of yours we can cover too before
You
we
got
let
it.
go. All right. Todd Michaels is here. We'll do all that after the news. Brewmaster at Flick's Brewhouse in Madison, Dave Hansen joins us to talk about the new Nightlight inspired beer at 7:35. Stick around for that. That'll be fun too. It's all happening here on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Come on, Joe!
On to Alloway. This is 97.9 WGBW. Maggie Dawn.
At the top of the show, I'm joined by Minnie Timaraju, the CEO of Reproductive Freedom for All. We talk about the importance of the Supreme Court race that's heating up. Don't miss it.
The Maggie Dawn Show. Weekday afternoons from 2 till 4.
National Agriculture Week is here.
Let's take a moment to bring attention to and celebrate the important role agriculture plays in our daily lives and that our Wisconsin farms play in feeding communities throughout the United States. This message made possible by local American Family Insurance agent Kyle Lang, offering home, farmland, auto, and life insurance. Visit KyleLangAgency.com to request a quote. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly with American Family Insurance agent Kyle Lang.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram. This is 97.9 WGBW Denmark, Green Bay's real news and great conversation, a Civic Media radio station.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump and Russia's leader scheduled to hold a phone call tomorrow. It comes a week after Ukraine agreed to a U.S. proposal for a 30-day ceasefire with Russia. ABC's James Longman is in Kyiv and says Vladimir Putin has already expressed concerns over the terms.
The concern from the Ukrainians, and we've been speaking to someone close to the process here who says they'll be watching this call closely. They'll be monitoring to see what Donald Trump says after it. I mean, the concern they have here is that every time Donald Trump, or indeed anyone from the administration, speaks to Russia, they come away with a lot of Russian talking points.
Brokered talks in Doha breaking down, Hamas rejecting the latest proposal by U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to extend Phase 1 of the Gaza ceasefire deal. Hamas leaders say the plan does not include a ceasefire or lifting Israel's aid blockade and only focuses on prisoner exchange. A new wildfire reported today in Oklahoma, southeast of Guthrie. It's triggering more evacuations today. This is ABC News.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News. Your news roundup in quick podcast form. You can find it anywhere at the WGBW website, WGBW.fm. For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. In Wisconsin, spring is noted not only by warmer temperatures and more greenery, but also by the return of road work. U.S. Highway 10 at Interstate 41 is scheduled to close for 7 months starting in April. The Wisconsin Department of Transportation says the work is part of a project to remove and replace concrete pavement adjacent to bridges in a 4-mile stretch of the interstate in Menasha, Fox Crossing, and Appleton areas. Check 511wi.gov for detailed information. Two groups, Peaceful Patriots and Indivisible Winnebago, held protests in Oshkosh prior to the Lincoln Day dinner attended by Republican leaders in the area. The protests were to express dissatisfaction with the actions taken in the first few months of the Trump administration. Danny Sherrill with Peaceful Patriots.
We're out here displaying our disdain for what is happening right now in the White House, what's happening with Elon Musk, who's not an elected official, and we're just saying, hey, we're out here and people care.
Peaceful Patriots is also the group that protests regularly at the Opera House Square in Oshkosh every Saturday. The Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development, or DWD, has announced a new record high 3,053,300 total non-farm jobs in the state. That's according to January's preliminary estimates from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Construction sector jobs increased by 700. That's 3,900 above a year ago. Preliminary employment estimates for January showed Wisconsin's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate ticked up to 3.2%, which is still 0.8 percentage points below the national unemployment rate of 4%. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.fm.
March Madness is here. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Men's college basketball, the brackets are out. The Badgers play in Denver Thursday afternoon at 12:30 against Montana in the Ball Arena in Denver for the opening round of the NCAA basketball tournament. Marquette is going back to the dance. They face New Mexico Friday night in Cleveland. Head coach Shaka Smart.
This is a date that, as a basketball player or a basketball coach, you have circled on your calendar way before the season even starts. And it's something like 18% of teams end up playing in the NCAA tournament. So we don't take for granted even being in the NCAA tournament. This is really an acknowledgement today of the fact that our guys earned the right to be in the tournament, and now it's all about what we do with it.
NBA, the Bucks losing to the Thunder 121-105. Damian Lillard on how the Thunder were different than the team they beat in the NBA Cup last December.
I just think, obviously they are who they are. They defend, they move the ball, they got a deep team, and I just thought that we played a better game the first time.
That's Damian Lillard with Sports on Mike Clemens.
Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
With your Fox Valley forecast, I'm Corey Hartman. For tonight, mostly clear and a low around 36. A bit breezy on your Tuesday with a high near 51, under partly sunny skies. Chance of rain Tuesday night, a low near 37. Rain for Wednesday and rain mixing with snow Wednesday night. Afternoon highs in the 40s. Currently 46 degrees.
Imagine home. The smell of coffee, the sound of a lawnmower, the sun's warmth on your face. Free to be yourself. Surrounded by love that helps you grow. This is a place to call home. That's an American dream we all deserve. But in 50% of U.S. states, you could legally be denied housing if you are LGBTQ+. Get the facts and hear real stories at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
The Todd Alba Show.
Let's go to Ollie in the North Woods. Ollie, hiccups or gas? What's worse?
Well, I'd like to frame my answer in the form of sports. It depends upon whether you're a passer or a receiver.
That's great. Whether you're the passer or the receiver, that's the best line of the day.
The Todd Alba Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Mino and the Mayor.
On Tuesday's show, I'll be joined by Vanessa Moran from Feed My Starving Children. She'll fill in while the mayor is on vacation. Plus, we'll welcome Dan.
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Light with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who writes checks his mouth can't cash, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So great to have you with me on this Monday night. What better way to spend a Monday night than to call the entire family in around the radio and have a discussion about beer and aliens and Gene Hackman. Where else can you find that on a radio program in this day and age? Conrad, a little help? You can't, right?
I'm lost. I don't know.
Okay. Very exciting. We have Dave Hansen will be here at 7:35. He's the brewmaster at Flick's Brewhouse in Madison. And Dave reached out about a month ago and suggested creating a Night Lite inspired beer, which is very exciting. So that will be ready in probably a couple weeks. We'll talk to Dave about that at 7:35. Todd Michaels is here. A new look Todd Michaels is here.
Well, I had a friend reach out and said that I look like Dave Hansen now.
Oh, that's right. I saw that. It was Matt Harper on Facebook.
No, somebody else actually said that too. So maybe I'm doing it in honor of Mr. Hansen.
Of the new Night Light beer.
Yep.
I think more appropriately, right?
The balding brew. There you go. I mean, you're just going to have to shave your head, Pete. That's what you're going to have to do.
Listen, if there's a way for me to make money somehow at this, I will shave my entire body, which is important in radio. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, our question of the night is, does Gene Hackman, he did not leave his kids any of his $80 million fortune. Not judging, but on my initial glance at this, after he admitted to being an absentee father as an actor where he would leave home for months at a time, not leaving his kids any of his $80 million, as it turns out, they will get it because of how he died in proximity, the timeline with his wife's death. There were no secondary beneficiaries, so they're going to get the money anyway. But does Gene Hackman not leaving anything to his kids in his will change your opinion of the legendary actor? That is tonight's question of the night. Text us, app us, stream us, whatever. We would love to know what you think, and I will read it on the radio. Todd Michaels is here. He's the producer of the Mino and the Mayor show here at WGBW and WISS. Every morning you can hear those guys. So much fun and a great way to start your day. He's also a paranormal investigator. We're talking about a new documentary that came out insisting that aliens live among us and do exist. But we have our doubts, but we're discussing it, and we're talking aliens. Todd, we have a texter, AJ, from the 608, who kind of touched on something we said before. AJ says, hey, Pete and Todd, What is your take on interdimensional beings? Because I thought that's what I believe the Sasquatch to be. Very intelligent, but have powers we don't have enough information on.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we did touch on. And in my belief system or my mindset is, since we can't seem to grab hold of this Sasquatch thing, even though we've got a little bit of evidence or stories and all that kind of stuff, maybe that's what's going on. Maybe this thing is coming and going from some wormhole or portal or something like that that we just don't quite understand. But when you talk about that, and you talk about skinwalkers, and then you talk about aliens, I just think there's a ton of stuff that we just know nothing about.
Right. What's a skinwalker?
Well, that goes back to Native American beliefs and things like that. I just was on a podcast this weekend that talked a little bit about skinwalkers. Kind of freaky stuff, but they are beings or entities that can kind of change shape and become other things.
Wow.
And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to drop what the podcast was, or tell people where they can follow you and your paranormal investigating?
Yeah, you can do a couple things. If you look on Prime, I think it's still on Prime. There may have been some sort of disagreement on funding it or something like that, but you can find Haunted State on Prime Video. And the podcast is the Sandy and Toddcast. One of my friends, Sandy, and I talk about ghosts and other weird stuff every week, every other week, something like that. The Sandy and Toddcast.
I love that. And I saw that episode. Well, I saw one of the episodes. I think I actually saw two, but we talked about your Door County investigating. A really fun show, and it was really fun to see you on TV as opposed to just hearing your golden pipes on radio. But I think, okay, here's my issue. I feel like water. I feel like if there was something on land, we would have by now seen it. I feel like we're in an age of conspiracies where we want to believe something. Like, life is reality TV right now. And I'm kind of with you. I think something could exist, but where is the proof? Like, I just haven't seen any. And it seems like people want to will this stuff to be true.
And it's also difficult because every once in a while you'll see a brief clip of something that somebody caught on their closed circuit television cameras or their Ring camera or whatever.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is it's not 1939 anymore, and it's not the Wizard of Oz, meaning that with just a little bit of talent and all the technology that's out there, you can fake this stuff very easily for video. So it's tough to determine what's real and what's not real. And again, so far, I've not seen anything that makes me believe. Here's the thing. If there are dead alien bodies or something, Roswell, for instance, if there was an alien body that was found and they were researching this thing, where did it go? Where is it? Why didn't we see it, at least by now, all these years later?
And that's what I was going to ask you about. What supposedly happened at Roswell? I remember watching something probably 40, 30 years ago on this, but what happened there? Why do people think something happened at Roswell?
Well, there's some debris and stuff that came down. The government said, hey, this was just a weather balloon that people saw come out of the sky. It was not alien related, blah, 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 blah. That was the United States government that said that. The problem with the timeline on this is right around that time when this news came out, there were people who were trying to scam people into believing that they found pieces of UFOs that turned into be like old pieces of jukeboxes and stuff like that from record players and all that kind of stuff. So there was this string of people that were doing hoaxes. And so that kind of muddied the water on the real research on this and the information that came out on this. Do you remember the Brady Bunch episode where Greg gets his room up in the attic of the house? And so he's up there with a whistle and a flashlight, and Bobby and Peter are down on the ground and they see this UFO, and it's just basically Greg and Marcia up in the attic playing a prank on the two of them. I mean, that's a lot of that kind of stuff was going on back in the late 40s and into the 50s, where people were making this stuff up. And then it kind of washes away. And this happens today with paranormal research, with some of the TV shows that take ghost hunting over the top. And every time they're out hunting, they're getting possessed and all this kind of stuff. It takes away any credibility that may actually be there from an investigation like Roswell.
That's really interesting. Amanda on the text line or on the stream says AI is ruining the ability to find what's real. Is that true? Do you know what she means by that?
Absolutely. Basically, what I was just saying is with any kind of talent, even a little bit, you can find an AI generator online right now and say, here's a picture of Pete Schwaba. Make Pete Schwaba a flesh-eating nightmare. And it will take your light, and I mean, not far to imagine this, but it will take your likeness, Pete, and it will create that. And it takes everything that is in our nightmare dreams and it brings it to reality. And like Amanda's saying, it's tough to determine what is AI and what's not. You've probably seen it too with political people where they fake a speech and they say whatever they want these people to say. I'm talking about Donald Trump or Joe Biden, all that kind of stuff. They're having conversations that never really happened.
Right.
And so while we're doing all this, we're muddying the waters of determining what is real and what's not. And it's not just aliens, but it's our political climate. It's what's going on in other parts of our own planet. It's really tough to determine what's real and what's being made up.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It really is. Todd, that was great. I want to ask you, I sent you an article earlier. Have you heard this?
Yeah.
This was in northern Wisconsin. A faceless snowmobile ghost on an old rickety Arctic cat up near Minocqua. And what do you think? That's creepy. It's almost like headless horseman territory. Like when I read that, it was a great read. Have you heard anything about this, or is it worth investigating?
I have not heard of this story, but I read through it, and quite honestly, I giggled a little bit through it, only because I've done a lot of investigating of what I would call folklore kind of stuff, and I've never come across something that was somewhat folklore-ish that ever turned out to be anything real. But apparently somebody up there not only saw this ghost snowmobilist, but actually had the snowmobilist ahead of him, behind him, on the side, not being able to see his face and all that kind of stuff. It again, show me something real, get me a picture, find me something, get an autograph by the ghost or something. It's hard for me to believe that it's true. The other thing with a lot of these claims, not necessarily this one, but we've talked before about something called the Paulding Lite, which is up in Upper Michigan.
Oh yeah,
and it's this light anomaly that comes in the middle of the woods and all that kind of stuff. There's another one on the East Coast called Somerville Lights or something like that. Very similar situation. They figured out it's not cars in the direct eyesight of the person seeing them, but it's a refraction of the light from cars in another location that makes it look like they're there. Again, scientific proof showing that this is what's really going on there. The motorcycle one is just kind of a fun little story. And there's a guy that I know that loves winter. His name is Kerry Longery, and he loves below zero temperatures and he loves all the snow. So I think maybe it's just part of his spirits up in northern Wisconsin doing this. Around Minocqua, I think, is where this story took place. Yeah.
I thought it was cool because it was an ex-Marine, I guess. It was trying to catch this ghost with no face and couldn't catch, like he kept speeding up and the ghost, it just had really creepy elements to it. And sometimes I read those and I'm like, man, that would be really cool if that was true. Unless it was me.
I'm thinking it's pretty close to the border up there. So maybe a little something's going on before taking the sled out.
Todd, I was going to let you go, but we have a phone call. Can you hang just through a very quick break? We'll take a call, and then I want to recommend something I think you might like to watch along these lines. So we'll do that. Todd Michaels is here. He produces Mino and the Mayor every morning here at WGBW and WISS, and he's talking paranormal activity here with us tonight. One of his hobbies, he's a paranormal investigator, and always just an absolute blast to talk to. Dave Hansen, the brewmaster at Flick's Brewhouse in Madison, will be here at 7:35 to tell us all about the new Nightlight-inspired beer and his process. That'll be fun. That's all coming up. We got a long way to go, Conrad.
Yes, we do.
You look a little too comfortable over there, buddy. We got a lot of show left. All right, we're coming right back with Todd Michaels. It's Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I wanna cry, cry, cry alone when you're feeling blue. I'm waiting just for you.
listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home of Mino and the Mayor.
While the teams get ready to choose their top draft pick, you can help Mino and the Mayor choose their top craft pick.
Northeast Wisconsin is home to amazing breweries, wineries, cideries, and distilleries, and we need your help picking the best.
We've drafted 10 of our favorites, but which local craft beverage creator will go to number 1? That's up to you. Top craft pick creators include Fifth Ward Brewing Company in Oshkosh, New Denmark Brewing, Duck Creek Distillery and Winery in Denmark, and Captain's Walk Winery in Green Bay. Vote for your favorite now by logging on WGBW.FM and click on Mino and the Mayor's Top Craft Pick. When you vote, you'll enter a random drawing to win $250 in gift cards from participating craft creators. Don't wait. Voting ends Friday, April 18th. Log on WGBW.FM and click on Mino and the Mayor's Top Craft Pick and vote right now. Mino and the Mayor's Top Craft Pick, drafting Northeast Wisconsin's finest one sip at a time.
This National Ag Week, we salute the men and women of agriculture. Quality Roasting would like to thank everyone involved in farming for their hard work and dedication helping to feed America. With flexible feeding options, Quality Roasting is here to help you explore how high oleic soybeans can fit into your farm strategy and make an impact. Quality Roasting, a local soybean processor since 1991. Call today, 920-775-9279 to sell your soybeans.
Appleton Cigar Company on College Avenue has been serving the community for over 25 years. If you are a cigar aficionado looking for a one-of-a-kind experience, you need to check out Appleton Cigar, which boasts the largest selection of cigars north of Milwaukee with over 706 cigars to choose from in a walk-in humidor. The Cigar Lounge offers an impressive variety of spirits and cocktails that pair perfectly with a premium cigar. For the full experience, come to Appleton Cigar at 415 College Ave.
Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said
I kind of forgot about that song, and I sent that to you today, but there was a teacher at my daughter's school, and that song was on over the PA when the kids were changing classes, and I said, what is this? What is this song to one of the teachers? And he goes, shut up and dance with me. And I said, I really don't think this is the time for that. I just want to know the song. Hi-yo! And he did not really get it and just kind of gave me a weird look.
Yes, sir.
Folks, Todd Michaels is here. And our question of the night, I'll share this with you, Todd. My daughter is kind of a smart ass. And our question of the night is, does it affect, Conrad, what's the question? Stupid Google just logged me out.
Does Gene Hackman not leaving any of his $8 million bucks to his kids change your opinion of him?
So here's my daughter on the text line because she's on spring break. She says, literally could not care less.
Was that her? I saw that come across.
That was her.
And I thought she was talking about our conversation. And so I was gonna call Kate up and rough her up a little bit. So I'm glad you clarified that.
I will pass that along because she thinks, she plays Taylor Swift one time on the show and she thinks she has carte blanche to criticize.
Yeah.
Todd is here. He is the producer of Mino and the Mayor. Check that show out every morning here at WGBW and WISS. We are talking paranormal investigating because that's one of Todd's hobbies. And we have a phone call, right? Let's get to this
Ollie
phone call.
from the
Maybe
Northwoods.
Ollie has information for us.
Well, I have a question for your guest there.
Sure.
I have a relative who is very much into paranormal and that kind of stuff. And she always points to the pyramids and the intricate design of the pyramids and how there must be another world out there that helped design that. And I just wonder what your thoughts on that might be.
Boy, that's a great question, Ollie. Todd, I've heard that before, like people saying we didn't have the technology yet or the whatever. What do you say to that?
Again, this is just speculation on my part. And this just goes off of things that I've seen and experienced on my own and in my investigations, whether you're talking about the pyramids in Egypt or whether you're talking about the Aztec pyramids and all that. there's something going on there, right? Can we definitely point to outer space and the universe for that? I don't know that we can do that, but it's a very interesting thing. And again, if we just sit back and go, well, people came together, they planned this, they built these things, and that's it. That's the end of the story. I think we're being really naive. There's got to be more to it. Where will we find the answers to that? I'm not necessarily sure. I think that if Leonard Nimoy had stuck around a little bit longer and his show In Search Of would have gone on for many, many decades, he would have gotten to the bottom of it for us. That's what I think. That was a great show, by the way.
Yeah. Is
Used
it
to
still
scare
on?
the
Can you get that anywhere?
I don't know. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, but that theme song and that show was it was crazy creepy, but so informative. I love that show.
Ollie, thank you for the call, and thank you for the question. Todd, before we let you go, do you have a favorite ghost story that you've either investigated or one you'd like to investigate?
Yeah, in fact, it's something that I came across today. Sanitarium Hill in Madison. It used to be home to what was known as Lakeview Sanitarium. And I don't like to investigate those kind of places that often because I think that they're over-investigated and I worry about the energies that are left behind there. But that is one in the Madison area that I would love to get into and do a little research on and just see if there's anything going on there. So, yes.
That sounds like a really cool place to investigate. Just the title, or a sanitarium or asylum, all those places. There was one in Peshtigo that they've since closed, but it was the Peshtigo Asylum, I think it was called. And it would be fun just to walk around in there, even if you weren't investigating. I'd be so curious to see how everybody there lived,
Yeah.
Todd, I have two recommendations for you.
Okay.
Along these lines, one is The Host. It's a Bong Joon-ho film. He did Parasite. He has the new Mickey 17 movie right now in theaters. He made a film called The Host, and it was about hazardous waste dumped in a river in Korea that morphed into this crazy creature. That seems like, I like when I find something semi-realistic, or at least that I could make the leap and think, okay, maybe this could happen. That was good. And then right now on Apple TV is The Gorge with Miles Teller and Hannah Taylor-Joy.
I heard you guys talking about this. You and Conrad talking about it the other day. Is it good?
It's streaming good. Yeah, it's good that you can watch in your own. And it would be okay in a theater too. I like those two actors. I like that they're looking over the gorge and not supposed to let anything leave the gorge. And then they kind of explain what's under there and how it happened. So it's kind of like you might see this and say these are ghosts, but they kind of explain things. It's just interesting. I'd love to get your take on it if you ever get a chance to check it out.
I will check it out. I was very intrigued after hearing you guys talk about it and give your thoughts on it. I don't know, last week or something like that. So, yeah.
Awesome. Buddy, thank you so much. Thank you for your big donation in the cure to fight cancer for St. Baldrick's. You look awesome, and you're even more fun to talk to. Thanks so much.
Well, I'll just finish up your review, too, and that's going to be an A+ for
You see how that's done, Conrad?
I better get an A+ too.
The kid's got stuff to learn. He's getting there, though. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
Have a great night, guys.
Yeah, you too. That's Todd Michaels. Check out Mino and the Mayor every morning here on WGBW and WISS. And check out the Sandy and Todd cast if you're into paranormal investigating. It's really interesting. And we'll have to see if we can find the name of that show that Todd had on Prime, because I did watch a couple episodes a long time ago when I first met Todd, and it was pretty interesting, especially Door County. Door County just lends itself to ghost stories, I think, right?
It does.
Have you ever thought your apartment might be haunted?
Actually, when I didn't know my door was like kind of on a tilt for my bedroom.
Okay.
And when I have the window open and the wind comes in, it'll blow the door completely shut.
Oh, wow.
And it'll like slam. And one time I was just watching TV in my living room and it happened, and I was like, so scared.
Might not be the wind.
But then I just realized, no, it does it every day if I have my window open. So
it could be the last guy that had the lease before you. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe something happened.
I don't know.
You might want to.
They have to disclose that, don't they?
If someone died in the apartment?
Yeah.
Yes, but he could have killed many others in the apartment.
Oh, no.
I think you'll be okay. Craig Kinnett checks in on the stream. He says, hey, Pete, I think in the end, Gene Hackman was suffering from Alzheimer's, so I don't know just how cognitive he was about things at the end. That's true, Craig, but the will was done like in 2005 or something like that. He says, I did read that his grandchildren are going to miss him dearly, so I couldn't have been too much of a jerk if the grandchildren are going to miss him. Yeah, all right, that's fair. Thanks, Craig. We're coming right back after the news. Flick's Brew House, the brewmaster, Dave Hansen, joins us here on Nightlight. We're coming back.
Listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Todd Albaugh Show.
This is your local civic media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Diabetes is common, but some people don't even know that they have it. Melissa Kay tells us how you can find out for free while helping to save lives by donating blood.
1/3 of Americans lack access to regular doctor visits in the U.S. 1 in 10 people have diabetes, and nearly 1/4 of those are undiagnosed. The American Red Cross is working to help inform those who don't have access to regular care by offering free diabetes testing to donors during the month of March. The free A1C testing screens for diabetes and pre-diabetes. This valuable information can help you maintain your health and well-being. You can schedule a donation in March to receive this free testing by visiting redcrossblood.org or by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS.
Ahead of the April 1st election, there have been a lot of ads focused on Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate Brad Schimmel's position on the state's 1849 abortion ban. Here's Tricia Young with a Wisconsin Watch fact brief.
Brad Schimmel, a conservative Wisconsin Supreme Court candidate, supports the state's 1849 abortion ban, but says voters should decide abortion laws. While campaigning in Adams County in 2024, Schimmel reaffirmed his support for Wisconsin's abortion ban, asking supporters, quote, "What is flawed about that law?" unquote. Wisconsin's Supreme Court is reviewing the 1849 law's validity after Roe v. Wade was reversed in 2022. I'm Tricia Young for Wisconsin Watch. Learn more at wisconsinwatch.org.
WGBW has an e-newsletter that comes out twice a week, and it is filled with stories you care about from the greater Green Bay area. Subscribe today at WGBW.FM. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. You've heard of Ted Lasso, the Apple TV show that premiered during the COVID-19 pandemic. It came at the right time and seemed to make people warm and fuzzy all over and give them much-needed laughs. We could use more of that now, and according to Variety, the show is coming back for a 4th season. Ted will be portrayed by Christopher Walken. Just kidding, even though I think that would be hilarious. Jason Sudeikis returns to the show that garnered 66 Emmy nominations and 13 wins. The exact release date has not yet been mentioned. SNL 50 happened weeks ago, but Variety is reporting that Bill Murray got very emotional during the festivities. The actor appeared on the Sway Calloway show and admitted to crying 3 times throughout the broadcast, especially losing it when a clip of the late Gilda Radner appeared, saying he loved Gilda and absolutely came apart when he saw her on screen. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
With your Fox Valley forecast, I'm Corey Hartman. For tonight, mostly clear and a low around 36. A bit breezy on your Tuesday with a high near 51. Under partly sunny skies. Chance of rain Tuesday night, a low near 37. Rain for Wednesday and rain mixing with snow Wednesday night. Afternoon highs in the 40s. Right now, it's 44.
The Todd Albaugh Show.
LA Tom, LA, what do you got for us?
We do have a woman problem in this country. There is an issue there that needs to be solved if we are ever to have a female president.
Look at Mexico has a president. Margaret Thatcher. It's just all over the world. I mean,
you have to remember Margaret Thatcher. They had queens.
Well, I mean, we have Lindsey Graham. Come on.
Wow, that's true.
The Todd Albaugh Show. Weekdays noon till 2 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Reviewing the week's legal news with a friend of the court.
Well, I'm looking forward to Saturday morning. I haven't missed one.
understanding, just like being in school.
It has been a week in the areas of law and government and the aspiration for justice in America. As always, I am delighted. I am honored that you have chosen to spend some of your weekend time with me in discussion.
Amicus, a law review with Jim Santel. Saturday mornings from 9 to 11. Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show, turns out Republicans aren't the only ones who don't want to hear from their constituents.
There's a problem with feathers, iron, bargain buildings, weights and pulleys, feathers hit
From the 818, Bridget responds to our question of the night. Do you think less of Gene Hackman for not leaving his children any of his $80 million inheritance, even after he said he was an absentee father? Bridget says, no. I wonder why, but maybe his children knew. I remember thinking it was odd that none of his children called to check in. He was alone for several days. Sad. Yes, indeed, Bridget. Thank you for the text as always. AJ, I'm sorry I just saw this text after we let Todd go. But he will be back on again at some point. AJ wanted to know what was Todd's most real supernatural experience. So that's a great question. And next time we have Todd on, we'll try to catalog that question and have that ready for him. Thank you for listening. We'll get to more of your text in just a bit. Tomorrow night on the show, Christina Laurie, the founder and editor of Up North News, will be here at 6:35. And then Civic Media Sports Authority Mike Clemens will be here. On Wednesday, from the TV show Bosch and Bosch Legacy, Scott Clace will be here at 6:35, followed by Madison film critic Rob Thomas. Lots of fun coming up. Mike Toomey will be here making the popcorn pick of the week. Another fun week here at Nightlight. Right now, I'm very excited to introduce a guy I feel like I've known for a long time. I haven't really known him that long. We've been social media friends. But he is the brewmaster at Flick's Brew House in Madison and the one charged with making a Nightlight-inspired beer. It was his idea, so he brought this on himself. He joins us now over the phone, Mr. Dave Hansen. Dave, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Pete?
Doing very well. So are you taking a break out of, making and concocting this magical brew you're making that we've inspired?
Well, right now we're just waiting. It's sitting in the tank. You put the dry hops in yourself.
I did.
And so it just needs time to just chill, settle down, let the flavors meld.
Yeah.
And then soon in, about a week, I'm going to transfer it over, so it's completely off any yeast, any hot particles that are left over, and it'll be transferred over. It'll be nice and clean, and then bring it up to carbonation, and it'll be ready to go.
You make that sound so easy, but that you probably have to be really patient. Like, I poured the hops in. We took a couple pictures. It was really fun last week at Flicks. How much patience goes into the beer making process? Like, it sounds like there's a lot of steps I don't know that people realize. And I know some people make their own brews at home, but tell us a little bit more about that process from soup to nuts. When you have an idea for a brew, how much work goes into getting it into a glass where people can drink it?
Well, it all depends on what you're going for, but it'll take a good amount of time. It's not an instant thing because you need to figure out what you're doing. Like for us, we made a pale ale with Wisconsin hops. So we needed to figure out which hops we were going to go with. So we needed the lead time to get those ordered and then make sure all the malt was on hand. And then that can be, a week, can be months, honestly, sometimes. Wow. Depending on the specific ingredients. And then come, the day before brew day, you got to get your water ready. By that time you have to have any calculations to, add some specific brewing salts or brewing minerals into the water. Make sure you have that exactly right on. And then comes the brew day where you're actually introducing the malt, the wheat, the oats that went in hazed on radio, but any multitude of those, among others, depending on the beer. And then that hops, water's at the right temperature, and then, 6 or so hours to do the actual brew until the point where everything's been boiled, everything's been separated, and then you're pumping it into the fermentation tank. It's cooled down to the right temperature that the yeast love. Add in the yeast to it, and then you get to wait.
It's so
great.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Dave.
So the next day you get to see some signs of life. You get to see that the yeast is working. So it might be raising the temperature a little bit, but you'll see, bubbling of, the vent stack that's bubbling in water because during fermentation, the yeast is letting off CO2 while it's making the alcohol. And sometimes it's very active and, bubbling like a straw in a cup kind of thing.
It's so great. It was fun being there and watching you work last week because you're kind of, I don't know if this is an accurate comparison, but you kind of reminded me of like Sean Connery in The Hunt for Red October. You're walking around all these huge tanks, pulling levers, and like just, I can't even like. All right, and so let's get this out of the way. The brew is going to be called Hazed on Radio, a play on words from the Journey song, or just an old cliche.
It's kind of the phrase, but yeah, it's probably known most as the Journey song and album.
Okay, so Hazed on Radio, inspired by Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. When you came to me with this idea, Dave, I just thought it was great, and thank you again for that. But is that your typical process as a brewmaster? Where do you find inspiration to create a new brew, typically?
Sometimes you never know.
Yeah, just comes to you.
With Flicks, we're in a unique position that we can look forward to things that are coming up on the movie schedule.
Okay.
And tailor it to that. And sometimes it's, an easy thing to figure out to kind of have a pairing with a movie that's upcoming and coming out. Sometimes it's just, a lot of people are going to be coming through the door with this movie. And, I better make sure I have something new and fun.
That's great. How did you end up at Flicks? Like you obviously, did you learn to become a brewmaster while you worked there? Or was this something you planned for years ago and you found a nice niche between you and Flicks?
It's a matter of finding they had an availability and I had availability at the time because the brewery I was working for previously had shut its doors. And so I was looking for somewhere. Flicks just, rose from the ashes of the pandemic, and they were looking for somebody, and the timing just worked out perfectly.
That's so great. Let me ask you this, Dave, because I think I told you this last week. I don't know a lot about what goes into making of beers, but let's say you've got Hazed on Radio, the Nightlight beer, and then you've got something else. Is there a lot of nuance between beers, or is it basically the same ingredients and you tweak something here and there, or are they totally different sometimes?
Some are completely different. Some are very similar. Like, most of the hazy IPAs I do, they're roughly the same. There's tweaks you can do with different kinds of malts, being whether it's from different origins or, different companies producing them. So there's some light tweaks that you do, but if you're trying to stay inside the framework of one style, then you're kind of, hindered by that style you're trying to make.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
So if you want to compare like making an American Pilsner, to making a hazy IPA, it's very different. You're looking at different temperatures. There's almost nothing other than just Pilsner malt, maybe a little corn or rice if you're going for that kind of classic American lager style, versus, with the hazy IPA, you're looking at oats, you're looking at wheat, you're, looking at anything in between.
Is one of those that you just described, Pilsner or IPA, healthier?
Not particularly.
Okay.
You're going to have a beer with lighter body, like a American lager. It's going to be lighter body, lower alcohol, and so it's going to ultimately be fewer calories, but it's not a health elixir by any means.
Okay. Dave Hansen is my guest. He's the brewmaster at Flick's Brewhouse in Madison at Easttown Mall. He does a great job there. Joining us here on Nightlight. Dave is the one who had the idea for a Nightlight inspired beer. It will be called Hazed on Radio. It should be rolled out. Are you still on schedule for the Wisconsin Film Festival, Dave?
Oh, yep. It'll be right on. So it'll be the beer itself will be ready on the 3rd of April.
Okay, perfect. That's exciting. So if you go to the Wisconsin Film Festival, a lot of the films, Flicks is one of the venues, and it's a great film festival. I'll be there doing a lot of Q&As and stuff like that. But stop into Flicks, order a Hazed on Radio, and you can show your support for Nightlight and Flicks Brewhouse all at the same time. Dave, is in terms of the brews that you've created, what's been your favorite? Like, what would you actually sit back and toss a couple back? Do you have a favorite?
There's a lot. There's a lot that happen that are favorites for like the month and a half, 2 months that they're around, and then you move on to something else.
Okay.
One of the first ones I did when I got to Flicks was a Czech dark lager. That it was rich, but yet it was light and crisp. So that one was definitely one of my favorites.
So when these go away, can you still, like, if you like it a lot, do you save some, or do you just kind of make it at home because you like the taste so much? How does that work?
No, I just kind of file it in the back pocket and bring it back whenever you can.
All right.
And just try and make it again.
So let me ask you this. You've got, and you might have told me this last week, but your beer is your thing. Like, I've got some beers I like. I'm a connoisseur by no means. But a guy like you, if you're in the mood for a beer, what kind of over-the-counter beer does a brewmaster, dare I say an expert like yourself, what do you go for?
I'm a very simple beer drinker at home. So right now in the fridge, I got Miller Lite. I think there's a Guinness tucked away in there still. We've got some Negro Modelo. Ooh. And then there's Indeed Brewing Company's Pistachio Cream Ale.
Interesting.
But other than that, it'll be, go to the store, out at a restaurant, just try something new, try something I haven't had before.
Very nice.
It's rare to drink a same beer twice. That's not, Guinness or Miller Lite, really.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So let me ask you this. You just said Modelo. Those commercials are so great. It makes me want to drink a Modelo. Like, that's how effective that advertising is. Do you have a favorite beer commercial?
There, honestly, not really.
That was a question kind of out of left field.
Most of the times I am coming across a beer commercial, it's watching football, it's watching the Brewers play, and it's just the same commercials over and over and over. So they tend to get old very quickly.
Well said. AJ checks in on the text line. She's in the 608. Dave, she says, "Hey, Pete, I haven't been to Flick's Brewhouse yet, but I would love to try it out." You definitely should, AJ. It's a great place to watch a movie. She says, "But I would also like to try the Thrill Factory. Is that helping? I've only heard about it through the Shark Tank." Does that make sense to you, Dave? Do you know what she's talking about?
Yeah, it's a new, big kind of arcadey, all sorts of fun, trampolines, laser tag.
Oh.
I think there's bowling there too. But it, on the, other side of the mall. It's
okay.
It's been there only a couple months.
What better thing to do after you down a 12-pack of beer than to jump on a trampoline? That's what I say.
There you go.
Hey, buddy, this was fun. Thank you so much for taking time out. I know you got young kids at home, and I appreciate you taking the time out. And thank you again for approaching us with this beer. I can't wait to taste it.
Absolutely. It's already starting to come into flavor. I tasted it today.
Oh, really? All right.
It's going to just get better and better.
My mouth is officially watering. Thank you, sir. We will we'll talk soon.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Dave
Thanks, guys.
Hansen. Check out Flick's Brew House in Easttown Mall in Madison. I've seen 2 movies there when I've been in Madison, and it's just a great theater. You get some good food, some good beer, and look for Hazed on Radio, Nightlight-inspired IPA that is coming out and will be ready by April 3rd for the Wisconsin Film Festival. When we come back, we're going to read your texts and shut this thing down. Please be here to help. It's Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
From De Pere to Swamico, 97.9 WGBW.
Hey, it's Amanda with another new Wisco 411 for you, and there's no better way to celebrate spring than with the maple syrup season. And you can do that at the Bubolt's Nature Preserve for Maple Syrup Saturday. Help yourself to a pancake breakfast made by the staff and volunteers and take your support for the preserve to the next level. Adopt a bucket. Each family who adopts a bucket will join the preserve to tap your own maple tree and hang your bucket to collect throughout the entire season. So go to WGBW.FM, click events to learn more.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. Folks, we've got to talk about Derek Van Orden. The second-term congressman representing Wisconsin's 3rd District is at it again, dodging public meetings and making all kinds of unhinged comments. As many scramble and struggle to understand the chaos of what's happening in Washington, D.C., and how it's impacting people here in Wisconsin, Van Orden has been as frustrating and disrespectful as ever. In one instance, Van Orden took to social media to berate a veteran who had been fired from his job at the VA by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. And the veteran in question is simply someone who was just reaching out to his congressman, looking for answers. Van Orden's office has also hastily canceled public meetings, and he has made some especially wild accusations about people who have been attending these public events. Congressman Van Orden needs to stop this unhinged madness, and more importantly, be more available and accountable to his constituents.
Find all of Dan's work at the Recombobulation area and on our website at civicmedia.us.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. The Army National Guard responds to disasters such as wildfires and floods. They protect us with missile defense, cybersecurity, and civilian support teams for chemical, biological, and radiological hazards. Be there for your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service.
Tyler from Wisconsin Rapids, he's in the 608, says, pour me a Blatz. Cilantro. I don't even know, like, is Blatz considered, it used to be cheap. I know that. And I know it's brewed in Wisconsin. I don't even know if they still make it. But I always assumed, since it was a beer we drank in college, that it was not one of your upper echelon brews.
I've only had it once.
How was it?
I didn't like it. I'm not gonna lie.
When I was younger, I couldn't even tell what beer I liked or didn't like. Like, I just couldn't, I didn't have the palate or the tongue with the taste buds, whatever, to really understand nuance. I just wasn't crazy about the taste back then.
In college, the beer that we drank was Natty Lights.
What is that short for?
Natural Lights.
Oh, no. I've heard of that. That's like the cheapest beer you can buy, right?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Jeez.
But it was cheap.
Natty Light, just that name.
It's
awful.
I really don't drink any Busch Light or any of that anymore because of how much I had of it in college.
I remember Jay Cutler used to drink Coors Light.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be like close to water, I guess.
That's the joke about it, yeah.
Carrie from Tosa says, not too surprising about Gene H. not leaving his money to kids since his wife was so much younger. Makes sense to leave it all to her if he was distant from his kids. His kids probably knew his will was that way and likely didn't put forth much effort because of it. Sounds perfectly dysfunctional, like most families, famous or not. Doesn't sound like Carrie's leaving her kids anything. I'm making an assumption, Carrie. Thank you for the text. That's great. Steady Eddie chiming in. He's got shamrocks all over the place. He says, top of the evening to you, Leprechaun Schwaba and your lovable producer, Mr. O'Conrad.
I liked it.
I'm celebrating St. Paddy's Day with a big bowl of Irish fried rice. It's a lot like regular fried rice, but sprinkled with 3-leaf shamrocks. Oh, that sounds tasty, Steady Eddie. He says, I'm a little disappointed to hear that Gene Hackman did not include his kids in his will. For now, I will reserve judgment on Mr. Hackman's likability and character. He was nevertheless a great actor. That is certainly true. Steady Eddie continues, the universe is a big place. The number of estimated galaxies is between 200 billion and 2 trillion, with billions of stars in each galaxy. I believe it is more likely intelligent life exists somewhere in the universe. I think we might find primitive life in our own solar system, maybe Mars. But to me, the probability that Earth has been visited by space aliens is remote. Though I keep an open mind, as Carl Sagan said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Yes, I agree, Steady Eddie. He says in these crazy times, the bigger question for me is, will intelligent life ever be found on the planet we call Earth? Steady Eddie, Steady O Eddie, Shamrock, sunglass emoji. Very well done, Steady Eddie. And a great question. And that's kind of where I'm at. I do believe there's life out there in that kind of expanse. But how would they get here? The 262. This is like an obscene. The 262 from listening on WAUK says, this is how blatant. This is how Blatz is brewed. And he's just got a cartoon of what looks like an alien peeing or Yoda. But the question is, 262, does it get you where you want to go? Does it get you drunk? Because as Krusty the Clown says, open your yaps, boyos. Tomorrow night, Christina Laurie, the founder and editor of Up North News, such a great publication. I love reading Christina's work. She'll be here tomorrow night at 6:35. And then Civic Media Sports Authority, Mike Clemens, joins us in the second hour. Do we have time to play our...
Yeah.
Did I yak too much?
We could play it, but it would have to be fast leading to it.
All right. Fast lead, and Conan O'Brien is going to host the Oscars again. He's coming back for another year, and he said it was because he needs to see the end of Adrian Brody's speech, which we've had a lot of fun with here at Night Light. And here is Adrian Brody's phone call with me that we debuted last week. Hello?
Yeah. Is this Pete Schwaba?
Yeah. Who's calling?
It's Adrian Brody, cheese dick. Heard you been talking about me about my acceptance speech.
How did you get this number?
I could get to anyone. You seen how broad my shoulders are?
Yeah, but what's that got to do with it?
I know you think you're hot with your little radio show, but people love my speech.
I'm sure they did. I'm surprised you're not still giving it, to be honest.
Yeah, I want an apology, and I want it right now.
Dude, I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but most people thought your speech sucked. It was meandering. It went on forever. I'm sorry, but it was almost as long as The Brutalist, for God's sakes.
Oh, yeah, I know a lot of people didn't like my speech. You think I don't know that? You know how many phone calls I still have to make? Oh, yeah, no one understands me.
Yeah. Hey, Adrian, come on, man. Relax. It's cool. Look, you got 2 Oscars. Why would you care what anyone thinks about your speech or feel the need to talk for that amount of time and not really say anything? Come on, man.
Oh, you know what? Here I am opening up to you, and you take another shot at me. Have you seen my shoulders?
Yeah, but, I mean...
Have you seen my shoulders?
Yeah, man. I saw a lot more of you than that in The Brutalist, which was totally unnecessary, by the way. Look, dude.
Yeah, look, it's cool, Schwab. I'll do anything for a role, but yeah, people love my shoulders. Hang on a second. Harvey Weinstein's calling from prison, and make sure I'm treating his ex-wife well. You believe that guy? Ugh.
Yeah.
Hey, no hard feelings, Chief.
He does have broad shoulders. You can't argue with that. And he wants you to know that. It's weird that a movie star, a 2-time Oscar winner, would be that insecure. But whatever. He found me. He had a lot of calls to make.
Shoulders 4 times there? 4 times. 4 times.
I'm glad you were counting. I lost count. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Tomorrow night is a Tuesday edition of Night Light. Typically, one of the best episodes of the week, so you can't miss it. Great guests again. A fun question. More chances for you guys to chime in on text. Love reading your texts. Thank you to Todd Michaels for joining us tonight and Dave Hansen. And thank you for all your texts and calls. On behalf of the lovable producer, Conrad, I'm Pete Schwaba saying good night, Wisconsin.
Take me to your best friend.